Medieval art spans roughly 1,000 years from the fall of the Roman Empire to the dawn of the Renaissance. This period is divided into four major styles: the early Christian period, the Byzantine period, the Romanist period, and the Gothic period. Early Christian art. Early Christian art emerged after Christianity became widely accepted in the Roman Empire. It primarily aimed to express the faith and the teachings of Christ during a time when Christians faced persecution, using subtle symbolism to convey religious messages. Early Christians used symbols like the fish, representing Christ, and Cairo from the Greek word for Christ, often hidden in catacombs during persecution. Also, for their architecture, churches were built in the basilica style with a rectangular nave, side aisles, and an apse for the altar, symbolizing the path to salvation. One example of this is the old Basilica of St. Peter in Rome. One of the earliest basilicas became a key pilgrimage site for Christians. Art of the early Christians mainly focused on mosaics depicting Christ, saints, and biblical scenes. One example of this is a mosaic icon of the Virgin Glycopelosa from the 13th century, shows that Mary tenderly holding the infant Christ, reflecting both maternal care and divine connection. Byzantine art. Following the foundation of the Constantinople by Emperor Constantine, the Byzantine Empire became a powerful cultural center for Christian art and architecture. Byzantine art marks a departure from realism of classical Roman art, aiming instead for spiritual transcendence. Byzantine artists aim to depict heavenly realities, portraying figures like Christ and the Virgin Mary with serene expressions and halos to symbolize divinity. Their features were elongated and stylized to emphasize their sacred nature. Using of golden light, a hallmark of Byzantine art is the use of gold backgrounds, particularly in mosaics representing divine light and religious imagery. One example of this is the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, exemplifies its grandeur with its massive dome appearing to float, illuminated by light from the windows, symbolizing the connection between heaven and earth. Byzantine art is also known for its icons or religious images meant to inspire prayer and devotion. These icons were not merely artistic but were believed to be a window to the divine. One example of this is the Virgin Theotokos in The Child Between Saint Theodore and George, a 6th to 7th century painting from Saint Catherine's Monastery in Sinai, Egypt. It is a classic representation of a Byzantine iconography. Christ is depicted in Mary's arms, with saints flanking them in formal, solemn poses, emphasizing their divine nature. Byzantine art is also influenced religious art throughout Europe, leaving a lasting legacy on Christian imagery for centuries.
The Romanesque period, which flourished from around 1000 to 1200 AD, is known for its religiously inspired art and architecture. This era was marked by the construction of large, sturdy churches and monasteries, designed to symbolize the power and eternal nature of the Christian faith. Romanesque architecture, meaning in the manner of the Romans, developed in the late 11th and 12th century. It is known for its solid, lasting church structures featuring rounded arcs, thick walls, and massive columns, symbolizing the strength and stability of the Christian faith. One famous example is Durham Cathedral in England, built with large stone pillars and rounded arcs. This cathedral showcases the bold, robust style typical of the Romanesque period. Another key aspect of this time was the use of fresco wall paintings. Frescoes were created by painting directly onto wet plaster, making the artwork a permanent part of the wall. These paintings were commonly used to decorate church interiors, adding color and life to the stone buildings. For example, the Sant'Angelo in Pormis Basilica in Italy has beautiful frescoes depicting Bible scenes. Romanesque churches also featured architectural sculptures, often carved into doorways, columns, and capitals. These sculptures depicted biblical stories, saints, and religious symbols. A great example is the Cathedral of Saint Lazare in France, with its famous Last Judgment carving, reminding people of their faith and the consequences of their actions.
Gothic was a pejorative name used during the Renaissance period to describe the art of the late Middle Ages. It was considered to be a style of Goth, Germanic origin, and of lower quality than Renaissance art. Gothic art appeared in the 12th century in France and spread throughout all Europe. It was the predominant art style in Europe until the 15th century. Cistercian monks had an important role in the spread of Gothic art. The most important Gothic innovation started at Saint Denis Abbey in the north of Paris. The abbot Sigurd built a new church, copying new elements from Saint Etienne de Sens. So main features. It was mainly a religious art related to Christianity, but it was also a citizen's art related to the growth of cities and the powerful people who lived there. Sculpture and painting continue having the educational purpose, but they started becoming dependent of architecture. Architecture. So the main works of art is cathedrals, but also civil buildings such as palaces, town halls, markets, and etc. In religious buildings, a new conception of space appeared, related to the new conception of God. God is light. Building became lighter, higher, full of light, trying to transport the congregation to heaven. So here's the example. Dogat Palace, Florence, Italy. Choir of Saints, Denis Church from France. The architectural elements. So there are three architectural elements. These are flying buttresses, vault, and the stained glass windows. So first is the flying buttresses. Buttresses help support the weight of the buildings on the outside. This is invented during Gothic period. Gothic churches could be very tall because of the buttresses supporting the weight. Vault is an arched ceiling. There are three types of vault. These are barrel vault, groined vault, and ribbed vault. So first is the barrel vault. This is a semi-cylindrical vault. And groin vault, it is two intersecting barrel vaults. And rivet vault in which the surface is divided into webs by a framework of diagonal arc ribs. This is used to support the web, a wide roof in Gothic churches, wide space without columns in the middle. It is inspired by human anatomy. Stained glass windows. It is invented during the Gothic period. Light as a symbol of God. Colorful images of saints, donors to the church, animals, and other designs. So here's an example: Sainte Chapelle, Paris. Vast expanses of stained glass windows. Gothic style known as rayonnant or radiant because of the light and the use of gold. Church built to house King Louis' 9th collection of relics, including a nail and a crown of thorns of a crucifixion.